Most people lose control when they are provoked, and that is exactly what certain people want. They are not trying to have a conversation. They are not looking for understanding. They are trying to access your emotions. They want to irritate you, destabilize you, and make you react impulsively. Because when someone controls your reaction, they begin controlling you. Maybe you have experienced this before. A sarcastic comment, a provocation disguised as a joke, a sentence carefully aimed at your insecurity, and immediately you feel the urge to respond, defend yourself, or prove the other person wrong. But there is a silent trap in this. The more emotionally you react, the more power you hand over to the person trying to hurt you. Stoicism teaches something deeply liberating. Not every provocation deserves your energy. Not every person deserves access to your peace. And sometimes the strongest response is not winning the argument, but refusing to enter the emotional game. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Think about the depth of that. You cannot control people's behavior. You cannot control what they say about you, but you can control something far more important, the way you choose to respond. And this is exactly where most people fail, because provocation works like fire. The more reaction it receives, the bigger it grows. But there is a simple response that completely destroys this emotional game. Attitude 1. Never give them the reaction they expect. Provocative people understand something very well. Impulsive emotions are predictable. When someone tries to provoke you, they usually expect anger, defensiveness, or emotional chaos. It is like an emotional hook. The provocation is simply the bait. And the faster you react, the easier it becomes for the other person to pull you into conflict. Many people spend entire days carrying arguments in their minds because they gave too much power to small provocations. A few words were enough to destroy their peace. Epictetus said that nobody can harm your mind without your permission, and that changes everything, because the real problem is not the provocation itself. It is the emotional space you allow it to occupy. Imagine a fire no longer receiving wood. Slowly it loses strength on its own. That is exactly what happens when you stop feeding certain people with emotional reactions. The conflict begins to die. People who provoke you are trying to access the part of you that still has not learned self-control. They are looking for wounded pride, insecurity, and impulsiveness, because your reaction is the emotional reward for the person trying to hurt you. And the more emotionally mature you become, the more you understand something important. Not every opinion deserves a response. Not every criticism deserves an explanation. Not every provocation deserves your energy. The strong man is not the one who wins every argument. It is the one who remains at peace in the middle of them. But silence alone is still not the most powerful response. Attitude 2. Use a short and calm response. When someone tries to provoke you, they usually expect emotional resistance. They expect explanations, defense, and conflict. And that is exactly why a calm response becomes so powerful. There is a simple phrase that disarms most provocations. If that's what you think, that's okay. Notice the silent strength behind this. You do not explain yourself. You do not try to convince anyone. You do not enter an emotional war. You simply show that your peace does not depend on the other person's approval, and that completely breaks the expectation behind the provocation. Because manipulative people survive on emotional reactions. When they do not find resistance, they begin losing control of the situation. It is like shooting an arrow at a target that is no longer there. Seneca said that the greatest demonstration of strength is remaining calm in the face of provocation. And few things frustrate someone more than realizing they failed to steal your peace. People who are truly at peace do not feel the need to win every argument. They do not feel the need to respond to everything. Because emotional maturity also means knowing when silence is more valuable than any explanation. In the middle of the emotional chaos of the world, protecting your peace has become a rare skill. So subscribe now to the channel Stoic Spring, because the more you strengthen your mind, the more you learn to react less, think clearly, and live with serenity. When you stop reacting impulsively, certain people begin realizing they no longer have emotional power over you. Attitude 3. Not every battle deserves your peace. One of the greatest signs of emotional maturity is realizing that some arguments were never about truth. They were only battles for emotional reaction. Some people provoke others because they are already at war within themselves. They carry frustration, insecurity, and resentment, and try to unload all of it onto other people. But the Stoic understands something important. Entering certain arguments is like stepping into quicksand. The more you fight inside it, the deeper you sink. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The best revenge is not to become like them." And that is profoundly true, because when you react with the same aggression, you lose exactly what you were trying to protect, your inner peace. Many people are emotionally exhausted because they turn every provocation into a personal battle. They try to respond to everything, correct everyone, and win every conflict. And by the end of the day, they carry a heavy mind filled with unnecessary wars. Imagine someone throwing mud at you. Your first instinct may be to throw it back. But when you do that, both people end up dirty. The wise man understands that some people are not looking for dialogue. They are looking for reaction. They want to feel that they still control your mood and your peace. And perhaps one of the greatest freedoms in life is realizing that you do not need to convince anyone of anything in order to remain at peace with yourself. Most of the time, provocation reveals far more about the other person than about you. People at peace rarely feel the need to constantly irritate, diminish, or emotionally manipulate others. People who constantly try to hurt someone are usually trying to relieve something painful within themselves. And once you understand this, you stop carrying certain words in your mind for hours. You stop turning small provocations into emotional storms. The truly strong person is not the one who always has the perfect response. It is the one who can preserve calmness while others try to provoke the opposite. Sometimes the most powerful response is simply refusing to give away your peace. So the next time someone tries to provoke you, breathe before reacting. Observe the intention hidden behind the words. And remember that your serenity is worth far more than winning temporary arguments. You do not need to prove strength through anger. You do not need to respond to everything in order to demonstrate value. The silence of someone at peace is often far more powerful than the emotional explosion of someone wounded. And if this video spoke to you, subscribe now to the channel Stoic Spring. Because when you create the habit of strengthening your mind, your life changes. You learn to protect your inner peace, control your emotions, and develop a maturity that makes it impossible for certain people to manipulate you. In the end, the person who learns to control their emotions becomes emotionally free.